Alright, so the fun must begin. Let's jump into 3dsmax and send the first package to our render farm. Before I do that though, I want to go quickly through the menus. So a bit of dragging, but I want to make sure that you are going to understand what is the purpose of this plugin in the first place, and what's the best way to use it with your scenes. So after you launch it under rendering, render with CGIFarm, you're going to get the title with the plugin version. This is very important in case you want to report any crashes. It will help us know which version you used and what kind of way to reproduce it, so we can get it fixed much faster this way. Under render settings, after you loaded the scene and click on the sanity check, you're going to get some infos about the project folder. Before we implemented the 3dsmax package, we were relying on people to use the 3dsmax project folder, which I think 95% of the people don't even know what it is. And this is under manage set project folder. If you're using this, you're going to make our lives much easier, but I know 95% of you doesn't use it, so we implemented the other checks in order to get over that. So that's why you get the project folder here to tell you where the project is set on your current scene, and this is helpful if you're using any relative paths. So relative paths means that you don't have any C, D or Z drive in your paths, and the paths are just going to result to the project folder. So there's no that, and let's see if this works. And you get just this scene assets, images, and that's it. For this to work with our plugin, collecting the files properly, make sure you have the project folder set properly, so we know where to go relative to find those files. We also do other tricks that I'm not going to bore you with, but I'm talking about the best way to use the plugin, because the other things we do involve a bit more checking to be done, and sometimes can go wrong, and when it goes wrong, you have extra work to see why you have missing assets and all that. So the scene info helps you know that you've done the sanity check for the scene that's actually open in 3dsmax, because you can open a different scene and then you didn't do sanity check on that, and it will show okay, it's ready to go, and when you prepare to upload or zip the package, it will say okay, you have errors, and then you may be confused. So make sure you check that the scene info that you have here is the same info that you have on top of your 3dsmax. Some info about your current renderer. Enable compress on save. This is good because it's zipping the file, so it's smaller when you're sending. So this value here, this option here will compress your file, but the problem with that is that it's going to take some extra time saving the file. So you can leave it off while you do your tests, and that doesn't really check properly. No, I didn't save properly. So leave it off when you are testing, because saving is done much faster. But before sending the package, you see it's a warning. You can leave it off if you want, but it's good practice to have it on before sending. Distributed render. This will do different checks. It doesn't do anything for when you submit the job, but it's for doing the checks that must be done for distributed render. You'll see that most of the time you're going to get different warning messages if you have distributed on and off. We have different parameters that we check to make sure that your scene is alright for distributed rendering. Scene doesn't have an active camera. This means that your viewport doesn't use an active camera. Like I mentioned before, warnings are just there to warn you about stuff. Errors are the things that will not let you upload any scenes before you solve them. Okay, let's see if I can reproduce this. We implemented for over 50 cases fixes of your scene. I'm not going to go too crazy with this to show you. It's the same principle for all of them. Where you see this gear, this means that we implemented a quick fix. Pardon me. When you right click on this issue and you have the fix right there, you click and the option is set. You don't have to dig for it in 3dsmax, in render setup or other menus that you might have. We got the max script functionality of setting that parameter, and we implemented it for all this. Then you have the tooltips, which will give you some clue about the warning or the info that you're seeing there, and also for the errors you're going to see that a lot. And then we have the main three buttons, which might change in the near future because we're planning some changes to allow users to customize the packages before they get sent. But for now, this is it. Sanity check, which I already showed what it's doing. Prepare and upload. It does what it says. It's going to prepare the package, gather all the assets, and upload the package. The zip is going to do the same thing but skip the upload process. It will generate you a zip file which you can also use to share it with your colleagues or send it over, because it does a better job than 3dsmax saving as zip, which is another option which is pretty good, but it doesn't save, it doesn't track some of the files, and it's not 3dsmax fault. Is the people that implemented the plugins, they did not integrated those properly into 3dsmax, so some callouts there for Corona and other. Corona started into the 1.7 version to add the UHD caches into the asset tracking, but there are some plugins where cannot actually know that you want the caches. Particle flow doesn't get tracked as well, and that's 3dsmax. And yeah, that's back and forth, because you cannot track all the assets, all the caches, and make a huge package, but you cannot leave them untracked as well. Anyway, we gather more assets than 3dsmax does with the zip archive. Otherwise, we would have got into implementing this thing. We just used the max default, but we tested and it doesn't work the way we wanted it, so we implemented our own assets gathering. And like I said, when you click this, it will ask you if you want to ignore the warnings and go through the process. I will do it, and then you give the name of the zip file you want, click save. We'll go, let's do it, saving. It will gather the assets, and then you get the zip file. Same thing for prepare and upload. Yes, I want it. And then it will bring in this status window. This comes in when you double click on this CGIFarm application. If it's closed, double click on it, and then you get the window. You can have multiple packages uploading, and you can cancel them if you want to. If it's a big package and then you realize that you forgot to set something on your scene, you can cancel it and then save your scene, do the sanity check, and upload the package again. It's that easy. Scene has been submitted for upload. You can then go to dashboard, any of them. I don't like too much because we offer 2 dashboards to users. Might be confusing for some of you, but the best thing will be to pick one of those and stick with that, as you get the same functionality, the same core functionality on both of them. The new one have more bells and whistles, and it will have more things that will help the user know how much credits it consumes, get some more stats from your jobs, but we're still working on it. So right now they are both about the same. So you get the status into processing. Once it's ready to change it to ready, and like I showed before, you get the info about how the processing went, and the rest is knowing to create the jobs. I showed a bit of that in an earlier video, but the next video will be an in-depth tutorial on how to use the dashboard, how to use it with various type of jobs that you create, and I think it will be a couple of videos to help keeping the video length low and be specific on the things that that video is going to help you with. So thanks for watching. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me on Skype, CGIFarm, email info@cgifarm.com, or go on contact using the contact button. And yeah, this particle flow just finished, and you can see here that it resolved this is an absolute path to the image, and it got converted to a relative path, because that's what we use on our system. We don't want to rely on some absolute path, so we can render it on different locations without worrying about this going wrong. And render output, yeah, everything went fine with this one. And I have a missing asset actually, we should not show. Yeah, this is not actually missing, this is an output, but it's a bug. So thank you very much for watching this video, guys, and as always, have a great day.